Hey guys, welcome back for part 2. I told you guys that watched the last video that we were going to do another version of the DC Splurge. This one is a little different. It's going to feel different in the way that it plays out, but I want to show it to you because it's a lot of fun as well. And you can vary your play if you're playing at Bubble Craps between these two systems based on what you've done for the day, how aggressive you want to get, and if you just want to change your pace. So if you haven't watched the video before this, the DC Splurge, I highly recommend you watching that video first so you understand the vibe. So with this system, it's a hybrid system again where we're going to be using place numbers, and instead of a don't pass or a lay bet, we're going to use the don't come area, which I haven't done a lot of videos of, and it's very helpful to have that in your arsenal to be able to use the don't come. When you use a don't come, you can't use it until there's a point established. So we're going to show this second version that I'm going to call the DC Splurge 410 version. Okay? 410 version. And we'll talk about the difference, and there definitely is a difference, and we're going to play it at the Bubble Craps level again. So here we go. Let's just roll this out. All right. So we're going to do the same thing we were doing at the end of the last video. We're going to be putting a $4 don't come, and you can do this with anything you want. I'm going to just dummy this all the way down to the lowest level, right? But just keep the ratio of the bets, and you can do this all the way up to $100 and 50, 50, 50, right? You can do this all different. Now, so that's a $4 don't come. And then on this version, we're going to be using, instead of the 6 and the 8, we're going to use place bets on the 4 and the 10. So let's talk about that. All right. Once this thing moves to one of the numbers, your number becomes the 7 for wherever it moves to, right? Because when the DC bet moves, let's say, behind the 5, you are betting for the 7 to come out with that specific bet before the 5, all right? Now, in relation to the two place bets this time, when we were using the 6 and the 8, the 6 and the 8 have combined, have more ways to be made combined than the 7. Now with the 4 and the 10, it's the same, it's kind of the same story, but the 4 and the 10 pay double. So the math is different. The 4, when you win on the 4, you get basically almost double your money. It's not exact. All right. So any other people are going to yell at me, well, I'm not getting paid exactly $1 when this hits. I mean, $4 when this hits. I know. I understand that. Okay. But for the most part, it's going to be $3.90, $3.90 some cents, depending on the machine, depending on whatever. Okay. So it's basically a double. So the math is different with this, and it plays out differently. But remember that the odds of the 7 hitting before the individual 4 or the individual 10 are a lot more. But combined, the odds of the 4 or the 10 hitting are pretty close to the 7, right? So this math works out a little different. So let's see how it plays out. This is the DC Splurge with the 410. Okay. We moved to the 8. The 8 was the come out number. Was the point number. Sorry, was the point. So this is the come out roll. So again, you have to remember, if you're playing this on Bubble Craps or any of the roll to win or whatever it may be, you've got to click the button that says that you want these all working on the come out roll, or they ain't going to be working. And believe me, I make mistakes if I'm not paying attention. Don't be me. Always make sure that you're working on the come out with these systems, these two systems, right? The last one and this one. You're working on the come out, okay? If you're playing this on the regular table, let's say with $50 and 25 or $100 with 50 and 50, you always have to let the dealer know that you're working. So let's go ahead and do this. So now we are on the DC 8. So we don't want the 8 to show up. So what do we really have now? We have the 4, the 7 is what we want, or the 10. But to really make money, and not just to break even, basically, we're looking for the 4 and the 10 to show up first. And there it is. Perfect. All right? So again, that was fantastic. See how we made $3.90 there. All right? Almost a double. So that literally paid, because of the 2-to-1 ratio now, which is different than what we did on the last video, we basically covered both of these bets. They're both free now. So you now have a choice. This is what makes this one different than the version before. Remember how we were reducing? You can still reduce and lock up the profit and still go down to $1 or $1 or whatever you want to reduce if you're playing bigger money. But these are now covered. So if you want to lock up profit, you can still do that. Drop, drop, and drop. But now with the 410 splurge, DC splurge, you have the ability to play it more aggressive. And now that they're covered, you can leave them out there to look for more profit going forward, right? Because you're basically covered. If the 7 shows up, you already locked up $4 of profit. And if you lose this $4, you're going to make it up with the DC bet anyway. So you want to try it that way on the first one here? Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to play it the quote-unquote more aggressive way. We're not going to reduce our bets on this one. And why are we doing that? Because we're hoping that the guy goes on a little bit of a roll and makes another 4 and 10. If not, and the 7 shows up, we're basically going to be close to around a break even for this specific scenario, even though we made money. But also understand that our DC bet is on the 8. Not optimal, right? For the DC to be on the 6 and 8, because there's plenty of ways to make a 6 and 8 versus the 7. But let's play it out this way. See what happened. So we lost our $4. See, that's the other side of that. Now, we're not going to go up. We're just going to replace the DC bet. You do not have to ladder up and down every single loss. Okay? We're perfectly fine. There's no reason to ladder up here. So let's see what happens. All right, we move to the 6. So here we go. We're looking again for the 4 and the 10. It's the 7. All right? So we lost our $4, but we made our $4 back here. So it's basically a break even. And look at our number here. We're at break even here because of that DC loss. So we're just going to go back out at that same level, that level 2 bet, right? Actually, we weren't at a level 2 bet. We were at a level 1 bet. So we're going to stay at a level 1 bet. So let's wait for the point to be established. There it is. And I'm not going to go up. I'm not going to go up. It's too early, right? So we're going to do a $4 back on the 4. We're going to do the $2 6. And we're not doing the 6s and 8s. Whoops. We're doing the 4s and the 10s on this video. Okay, so we're going to go back on the 4 for 2 and the 10 for 2. All right, same scenario. Our DC is on the 8 and we have our 4 and 10. Here we go. We're looking for a 4 or a 10. All right. 6. And there it is. There's our 4. So once again, we made our $4 approximately, right? That's the second time we were able to hit one of our 4s and 10s, okay? We did lose our DC bet on that last one. Now, again, you can make the same decision. Do you want to stay since these were already covered? But now we made profit on the 4 and 10s. So we're going to leave them out there. But if we hit again, you make the same decision. Do you want to stay aggressive or do you want to drop down on those and lock up that profit? We'll stay out there. Okay, we lost our DC bet again. Okay? So let's see where we're at. We're right back to where we started. So we're going to stay again. All right? So we're doing really good with the 4s and the 10s, but we're getting knocked off our DC bet. But it's not costing us anything. Okay? That's the beauty of these hybrid systems. We're not getting hurt. We didn't even ladder up yet. And we're back on a 6. So we keep getting the DC 6 and 8, which is easier for them to knock us off of. So here we go again. Let's hope for another 4 or a 10. And we got knocked off the DC bet again. All right. So let's just replace it because, again, it's not like we're losing much there. Right? And we're back on the DC 6. So I'll tell you what we'll do. If we get knocked off again of our DC bet, we'll go up this time. All right? This next time. So here we go. Looking for the 4 or the 10. And there's the 10. All right? So now this time, I'll show you if we take the other way around. We're going to drop down to half our bet. So we're dropping down to the 4 and the 10. We're dropping down to the $1 and the 4 and 10. We cut it in half. All right? And there's the 10 again. So obviously it cost us a little bit of money. Who cares? Right? And let's just play this out. And where's that 7? You know the 7's coming. And there's the 4. So the 4s and the 10s have been great on this video. Right? And remember, they're paying double. So we've had a problem with our DC bets on this video. But the 4s and the 10s are keeping us in. Right? So let's just, now it's the come out roll again. We have to make sure we hit the button that says we're working the come out. And here we go. Finally, we're not on the 6 and the 8. Well, we weren't on the 6 and the 8 for the pass line. So the pass number is 5. We don't care. We're back on the 4, the 10, and we have the 6 DC. And there's the 10 again. So we are really kicking butt. Now, let me show you, once you've hit the 4s and 10s this many times, and not only did you make your money back here, but you're way in profit on these, this is what you can do. And I'm just going to give you this as an option. I don't want to confuse anybody. Once you've hit a bunch of these, where the money is now playing with their money from the 4s and 10s, you can do a couple of things. You can go back up on the 4 and 10, $1, go back up to the next level, or you can add another number. Right? You can add another number. You can add to the 8. You can take the 8, the 9, the 5. You can take the point if you want the point number here. Right? We're not going to do it here. I don't want to confuse it. But I just want you to know that you can do that after you've hit a bunch of times. So again, we have the 4, the 10, and the 7. And you know the 7's coming up. And there it is. So that was fine because we only had $1 on the 4 and 10 and we had $4 on the 6. All right. So we're up now. Look, we're up 7 units, almost 8 units. So we're going to go back to our original. So let's go ahead and get a point number. And look, there's a 7. If we were playing this on the don't pass, you would have just lost. Okay. 10's the point. We're resetting. We're going back down the ladder to level 1. We're going to go to $4. And this video, we're using the 4 and 10. So we're going to do the 4 and the 10. DC moves to the 5. Let's see if we can get our hit on the 4 and the 10. And there it is. There's the 4. So, again, you can make your decision. Do you want it? These are paid for now. Do you want to keep them up or do you want to drop? This time we'll keep them up for one more and see if we get lucky enough to get another 4 and 10. Because we're not really risking anything with these now. They're paid for. We're still risking this because if the 5 comes up, we're going to lose this. Right? Okay. But the 7, has more ways to be made than the 5. Everything is math, guys. This is not crystal ball. This is not patterns. This is not any of that nonsense. You're playing math. All right, so we'll leave it up this time. We won't reduce. And that was a mistake, of course. But it's no big deal because we break even. Right? We lost 2, we made 4. But we'd already hit on the 4 or the 10, whatever we hit. So look what we did. We made money on that shooter. We're up about 12 bucks. All right, let's do it again. We'll go back out with the 4. And we'll do our $2 place bet on the 4 and the 10. And here we go. Boom, there it is right away. So this time, do you want to reduce? Even though we paid for these, we're already up. Why don't we stay out there? We'll try to be more aggressive. And we're not going to reduce on the 4 and the 10. Now, you notice that our DC bet is on the same thing, right? So what we can do, let me show you how that works, right? You don't have to keep your place bet on the 4, obviously, if the DC is there. You're kind of working against yourself, right? So when that happens, you can just move the $2 to another number. And if I'm using the 4 and 10, I'm usually going to move that number to the 5 or the 9. So this time we'll take the 9. So now we have the 7, the 9, and the 10. There we go. We hit the 9. So I'll do the reduction this time, just to show you on both. Okay? So we locked up the profit. And there's the 7. That was a good move, right? Because we only lost $2 here. Right? And we made the $4 here. So here we go. We're up to $20. We're at 20 units. 20 units using nonsensical money. One more time. All right, 8's the point. So we're going to do our $4 bubble bet, bubble craps bet here, our $2 bet here on the 4, $2 on the 10, and here we go. Our DC goes behind the 9, so now we have the 4, the 7, basically, and the 10. We want the 4 or the 10. And there it is. So we'll leave it up this time. We're not going to do the reduction. But if you want to play conservatively and you're playing for more money, always do the reduction. Always do the reduction if you're playing for bigger money. Right? Like this. Always do the reduction. There. We'll play it straight. We're going to do the reduction. We're looking for the 4, the 7, or the 10. There's the 8. No big deal. We want to make sure we hit the button that we're working the come out. All right, we got knocked off the 9. But guess what? We're up 18 units. We don't care. We're not laddering up. We're just going to replace it. We're just going to replace our DC bet. All right, that's the first time you've seen that. Right? 7 came while we were in the DC. That's a total loss. You're going to lose all 3 bets. Right? And that's going to happen sometimes. Right? No big deal. So I wouldn't be going up because we're up 14 units. But I'm going to just show you. Let's pretend that we're not up 14. Okay, that's a 7. We saved ourselves by not being a don't pass better with this system at the moment. And there's the 5. So let's say we did want to ladder up. We would go to $8 here. Right? And now these would go to $4 each. Right? And that's what your bet would look like. 8, 4, and 4. All right. Our DC moves to the 5. And we're looking for the 4 or the 10. All right, the 7 came. So we made money on the DC, we lost money on the 4 and 10. Break even, right? So of course, what we would do next is we would wait for a point and we'd go right back out. We'd stay at that same level of an $8 DC with a $4 4 and a $4 10. And once we hit on that, we would start to reduce again and manage your balance. This is a great freaking system. You can play it with the 6 and 8 like I showed on the last video, or you can play it with a little bit more wild swings with the 4 and 10. Either way, it's an awesome system. You can play it anything you want, from the bubble craps all the way up to $100 and $50 place bets. But always do the reduction if you can. Unless you're playing at the base bottom level, the key to this system is to reduce after a win so that when the 7 comes, and you know it's always lurking, when the 7 comes, you're fine because you reduce these bets and the 7 is covering you or more. All right? So that's it for the DC Splurge 410 version. Check out the DC Splurge 6-8 version and practice this. It is a great bubble crap strategy, or you could play it at the regular table. And your volatility, the volatility for this is not huge. Yes, you do get knocked off the DC bet sometimes. You do. But use the ladder to go up and down, right? And come back down as soon as you can. And it'll never usually get out of control too much, right? But again, you always have to have a bankroll that makes sense to do this. And the best way to learn what the proper bankroll for you is to simulate this. Now, I can tell you with the $4 and the $2 bets, $100 is more than enough 99.9% of the time, right? So what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you the way I mentally think about it. I don't even want to stress. So if I'm playing at those tiny levels, I literally put in $200 in the machine because I know I'm never going to get stressed. So I usually put in extra so that there's nothing to think about. That's just me. That's my mental psychology of never stressing about my bankroll. That's the way I play. But if you're playing at the regular table, you have to be absolutely sure that you can handle the bumps in the road. So to learn what those bumps in the road look like, you're going to have to simulate those. Do you need $1,000? Do you need $2,000? What do you need to play at those higher levels? Comfortably. Just simulate it, and it's real easy to kind of see that. So that's it for now. This is just tiny little stuff that we're showing you live here on YouTube. Major powerful strategies that we're showing are behind the scenes on cruisecasinomafia.com. Tons of stuff like this that you can take to the casino. You can pick and choose from over 650 strategies. You can join with a 6-month automatic renewing system subscription right now at cruisecasinomafia.com. Play this for extra money. Play this on your next cruise. Play our systems in Vegas on your next vacation. Or make this your go-to paycheck generator as you're building up your bankroll so that you don't have to do Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or whatever it is. It's up to you. Everybody has a different objective as to what they want to accomplish. Nobody's looking at the casino the same way as somebody next to you. So we have people that use our pro systems as a major paycheck because they built up their bankroll and they understand money management that we teach them. And then other people are retired and they just like to play on the weekend at their local casino or the cruise that they're going on or vacation. Everybody's different. We also have players that don't have local casinos that are playing for a living online. That's correct. I don't play much online, but there are a lot of people that do. All right, we'll see you on the next video, and hopefully we'll see you on the inside of cruisecasinomafia.com.